So in previous topic, we already study about various things regarding topic 4, which is, let's start with topic 4. Topic 4, which is perfectly competitive or perfect competitions. Perfect competitions, and in this perfect competition we talked about the markets. We have in previous lecture we looked at, we have 4 different kinds of market: perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly, right? And so of course, under monopoly and monopolistic competitions, the long-term profit is not possible. So there is no any long-term economic profit under perfect competitions and the monopolistic competition. Okay, and so let's move on to the next point, which is profit maximizations. But before we understand the profit maximizations, I need to explain you something regarding the movement of demand and supply curve under market structure when there is a market, or under demand and supply curve of a particular firms under perfectly competitions. So let's perfectly competitions. So we call it perfectly competitive market. Perfectly competitive market. So one thing we need to know under perfectly competitive market. So let's talk about the price. All right. So remember, in a market.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm afraid that you haven't talked about the monopoly competition.
Oh, we haven't finished monopoly competition?
You just talked about the perfect monopolistic and oligopoly.
Okay, so I haven't finished monopoly. Okay, so we continue with monopoly. Okay. So we finished perfect competitions, market, monopolistics, oligopoly, and now monopoly. Monopoly, right? So monopoly is a situation where only one firm run the market, control the markets. So we also, similar to the others, we also look at the characteristics of monopoly. Characteristics of monopoly. So the first characteristic is a one firm, right? One firm. So there is only one firm. As I said, monopoly, one firm gonna control the market, so that's why we have just one firm. No clause substitutes. No clause substitutes for product. Which means there is no any substitutes product available for the product which is sold by the one firm, which is sold by the firm who wanna control the market. So there's no any substitute. So means people, they do not have any option. In simple words, we can say that. That's the meaning of no clause substitutes. No clause substitutes means no option. People or the buyers, they don't have any other option. Next is no barriers. So there is no any barrier to enter or stay in the market. So anybody can enter. Next is a long run economic profit. Long run economic profit here is similar to the monopoly. Monopoly also have a long run economic profit, right? What exactly meaning of long run economic profit that we will gonna study in future, but I already explained you that you more likely to make money in a long terms, not just only the short period, right? But by using some practical examples, we will have a look later what exactly meaning of long-term economic profit. Next is a control over the market. So you have a substantial market power, or you're gonna control the market. So control over the price. Control over the price or full control over the market. So now what could be example for what could be example for this monopoly? So mostly monopoly kind of things exist only in a situation where government take control on some kind of specific sectors, right? So government. Right. So basically government companies or government control, also an example of the monopoly. Like as in Vietnam, if you take example of Vietnam, oil and refinery companies or oil and refining sectors are 100% controlled by the government. So there's only just one government. People, they don't have any other substitutes, right? Again, there's no any situation for the barriers, because government, if they want, other can enter, the government can allow other to enter, right? The government more likely to make long-term profit in this oil and refinery business and finally control over the price. But of course, oil is not literally controlled by the government, because it mainly depends upon what is the oil prices in the international markets. Yes, but kind of. Another examples for any sectors in which monopoly could be possible is a power or electricity companies. I guess in Vietnam there is only one company which is government company. I don't know, EVAN or something like that. EVN something, EVN, yes, Electronic of Vietnam, something like that. So that company also 100% government. There is no any competitions in that electronic, electricity supplies or power companies, right? So these are the situations where we gonna see how, what the characteristics of the companies if companies comes under the monopoly market, right? So now let's move on to, so these are the four types of market that we just finished. Right? So let's move on to the price determinations. So you can also call it perfectly competitive market, price under perfectly competitive market. Or price determinations, you can say that. Price Price determination, how to determine the price. So remember, in order to understand the price determination, so remember, there are two kinds of prices exist in these all four kinds of markets. One is some firms are price takers, and some firms are price maker. Right? Price taker means whatever price decided by the market, you willing to accept that price to sell your product. This is called price taker. You take the price from the market, right? And you're gonna sell your product at that price. So that's called price taker. Price maker, you make your own price. Right? So it depends upon your cost, depends upon your profit, you're gonna determine the price, and market will follow your price, the price you have decided. All right? So price taker and price maker. Right? So remember, if the firm belongs to perfectly competitive market, so that firm will be price taker. Right? Firm from perfectly competitive market. Perfectly competitive market. If you remember the characteristics of perfectly competitive market, you will see that under perfectly competitive market, firms, they do not have control over the price, because price depends upon the demand and supply in the market. All right. But if you look at the monopolistic market, like a restaurants and hotel, so they have a kind of control over the price, because it depends upon the nature of the product, and the product are heterogeneous. All right. But under perfectly competitive market, product are homogeneous. All right. So that's why you do not decide the price. It depends upon the demand and supply of the homogeneous product. If you look at the oligopoly, where I give example of the car manufacturers or automobiles, for these kinds of, they also kind of depends upon their mutual understanding. They're going to decide the price. And finally, monopoly, in which government decide the price. All right. So the idea is, under price maker, the firm from monopolistic competition. All right. Firm from monopoly. All right. Or firm from oligopoly. All right. So they are kind of price maker, but the firm which is from perfectly competitive market, that firm is a price taker. So take the price, whatever price is in the market, right? Now the question is, why the firm in a perfectly competitive market, they are the price takers? So simple answer is, of course, there is a large number of buyer and sellers. So when there is a large number of buyer and seller, market turns into a competitive market. So substantial amount of demand and supply. So in other words, we can say that under perfectly competitive market, firms are generally small firms, and small firms, they don't have that much power to control over the price. By that reason, so these firms gonna be a price taker, right? You can call them firms, or you can call them individual firms, right? Individual firms. And of course, these individual firms selling homogeneous product. All right. So by that reason, they do not have control on the particular sectors. So that's the ideas for price determinations. Right? Now, let's move on to the next. So the next is marginal revenue. Marginal revenue. Now, what does it mean, marginal revenue? Marginal revenue means change in a total revenue resulting from selling additional units. That's called marginal revenue. So in simple language, marginal revenue means if you sell additional units, you will make additional money. All right. So the meaning of marginal revenue is marginal means which is change, right? Which is not a fix. Right. So if you increase the number of units selling, if you increase the sales of number of units, you will increase your revenue. That's the meaning of marginal revenue. If you sell one additional units, your total revenue will be increased, obviously. Like as we look at before, remember when we study elasticity, price elasticity, we look at price multiplied by quantity is revenue, right? So if quantity increase at the same price, obviously revenue will increase. So that's the meaning of if you sell the additional quantity, so overall your total revenue will be increased, right? So we have this is the total revenue. That's the meaning of total revenue, right? Price multiplied by quantity equals to total revenue. Now have a look at the marginal revenue. Marginal revenue formula is change in a total revenue divided by change in a quantity. Change in a total revenue, let's say total revenue become 5,000 to 6,000, right? And units become 100 to 200. So 6,000 divided by 200. And then whatever change in a single units revenue, that's called the marginal revenue. That's called the marginal revenue. Marginal revenue. So in simple words, marginal revenue means change in a total revenue due to change in a quantity. Change in a total revenue due to change in a quantity. So that's the meaning of marginal revenue. Your revenue change when you sell the additional units, right? Okay. So now, in the previous topic, when we study about demand and supply, and we study about the price elasticity, in that topic, we did not look at the individual firm point of view. We simply look at the demand and supply curve from the market point of view, from the industry point of view. What will be happen if the market is a perfectly competitive market, right? And what will be the demand and supply, mainly demand curve for the firm, not from the market, not from the full market, right? So let's have a look. So we can see that market demand curve, market demand curve versus firm demand curve. Firm demand curve. Firm demand curve means obviously this firm from the perfectly competitive market. Right? So market demand and firm demand. Right? Firm demand curve, market demand curve. So let's have a look at the graph.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I was late for 15 minutes because the connecting is not stable. So can you check my attendance? I'm so
Uh,
sorry about that.
I didn't check anybody's attendance today because it's very hard for me to check and it's just waste of time. So next week you can update. I'm not checking anybody's attendance, but I can see who is present and who is not. So next class I will update the attendance. So don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So now we are drawing a market demand curve. You know that how market demand curve looks alike. This is your demand. This is your demand curve in a market demand, and this is your demand curve under the firm in a perfectly competitive market. And supply looks like this, right? And this is your quantity, all right? And this is your price. Okay, so this is your supply curve and this is your demand curve, right? Now, under perfectly competitive market, I repeat, under perfectly competitive market, stop writing here, perfectly competitive market is perfectly competitive. Under perfectly competitive market, that will be your demand curve, all right? That will be a good demand curve, which is going to be horizontal, more flatter, right? And this is your quantity, maybe this or maybe this, depends. You increase quantity or decrease quantity, right? And this is the price, you can call it, right? At the price you're gonna sell the quantity, all right? So now the question is why the demand curve is so flatter under perfectly competitive market. So remember, it's a demand curve for individual firm, right? So the idea is under perfectly competitive market, we know that we looked before, we know that firm do not decide the price, right? Price depends upon the market because the product are homogeneous. Firm is individual firms, they do not strongly control over the price. By that reason, price is not decided by the seller, by the firm, right? But the seller can increase or decrease the quantity, but seller cannot increase or decrease the price. Seller can decrease the price if seller want to minimize its profit, obviously, and seller cannot maximize the price. So let's say if seller will maximize the price, so let's say this is $5, for example, this is $10, right? If seller want to increase the price, then no market demand. Nobody will demand your product at this price. No sales, no revenue, right? If you decrease the price, let's say you keep it $3, right? If you decrease the price at this situation, you lose the opportunity to make more money, which could be 5, but you are making only 3, all right? Because the price is a $5, right? The price is a $5. Maybe you can attract more and more consumers, but it depends. But you are losing opportunity to maximize the profit. All right. So I can say that at this price, losing opportunity to maximize profit. All right. So What is the $5 then? $5 is the price where you maximize or you will generate additional revenue. So we can say that here is your marginal revenue. You sell additional units at $5, all right? You make additional revenue, but at this price, if you sell additional units, you may not maximize the revenue or no additional revenue or total revenue will not be increased. All right, total revenue will not increase. And how about here? Your total revenue will not increase because no number of units. All right, no revenue increase. So at this point, you will, if you sell additional units, you will increase your additional revenue. But if you reduce the price, your total revenue will not increase. Your number of quantity will increase, but the price will decrease. So total revenue will not increase. If you increase the price, your number of quantity will decrease. So as a result, your total revenue will not be increased. In fact, it could be decreased. But at $5, if you sell additional unit, you will maximize your revenue. That's why this is called demand. This is the price demanded means marginal revenue. Price demanded means marginal revenue. So make sure you understand this thing is very important, because when we're going to study something next, then you may need to know this kind of information, right? So is that okay? Or we move on? Any question or move on? Any question or we move on? Tell me any question or we move on. Say something.
Move on, please.
Okay. Let's move on, which is profit maximization. And make sure you keep noting all this information, because after 45 minutes, within 5 minutes, we have to log in again. So I will not have this file, but of course I'm recording, but I don't have this, the slides, whatever I'm writing, right? So make sure you keep writing this information. The next is profit maximization rule.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Can I take a picture of the last page?
Yes, you can. Wait. Yes.
It's fine, thank you.
So profit maximization rule. Profit maximization rule, I already explained to you. All right. Profit maximization is a point where firm will maximize profit. Maximize profit. At this point, I said losing opportunity to maximize profit. So because price could be increased, so you can maximize your profit, all right? But we should not increase more further, because if you increase the price further, you will lose the customer, all right? Lose the quantity. quantity sold. So now, profit maximization rule, right? So now, what is a profit maximization rule? Profit maximization rule is a rule in which it says that firm firm will maximize the profit at that point where marginal revenue is equals to the marginal cost, right? MR equals to MC. MR is a marginal revenue, all right? Marginal revenue, and MC is a marginal cost. Now, what is marginal cost? Marginal cost means cost of producing additional product. So if you produce additional product, your cost will be increased. Same like as marginal revenue. When you sell additional units, your sales will increase. Same thing, if you produce extra product, your cost will increase. That's called marginal cost, right? So firm will maximize the profit at the point where marginal revenue is equals to marginal marginal cost, all right? The point. So next we're gonna look at where is the point, how can we get that point, and what exactly meaning of marginal revenue equals to a marginal cost, all right? Generally, revenue should be higher than cost when we want profit, because if revenue is less than cost, we have a loss. And if revenue is equals to cost, I'm talking about revenue, not marginal revenue. If revenue equals to cost, no profit, no loss. We also call it break even, right? But what does it mean? Marginal revenue equals to marginal cost, right? Cost of producing additional units, right? Okay. So I need to explain this information through the profit maximization. So as I said, under profit maximization, under profit maximization rule, MR equals to MC. Firm will maximize its profit the situation where MR equals to MC. Right. So now I'm going to show you what does it mean MR equals to MC. And this is your demand curve, which means D equals to MR, the same graph that I drew before. Now, and this is your marginal revenue, and your marginal cost is like this. Right. So that's your marginal cost. Cost of producing additional units. As you are producing more, as quantity increase, this is quantity, right? And this is dollar value. Could be price for revenue. The word price, we use it for revenue, and the cost, we use it for cost, obviously. The dollar value for the price and dollar value for the cost. Right? So marginal cost means as the number of quantity is increasing, right, your cost is increasing. You can see that cost is increasing. So it looks like this. So like it's going up. Right? So which means number of quantity. Right? So this is your quantity and this is the cost. Right? So as quantity is increasing, 5, 10, 15, cost is increasing. That's why it's curved like this. Now, okay. Now I'm taking example of 3 different types of products. Right. So let's say this is quantity, as you know, and this is the dollar. Could be cost or could be price. So let's take example of here. One product is here. One product is here, and let's say one product is here. Right. So let's say here. One product is here, another product is here, and the next product is here. This is quantity. Let's say product 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is your third product, this is your fourth product, and this is your fifth product. All right, and this is here, right? And one is here and one is here, right? And let's say price is, for example, maybe this is $20, right? And let's say this is $30, and let's say it's a $40. All right. Now I'm going to explain you what does it mean MR equals to MC. Means why at MR equals to MC, MR equals to MC is a point where firm will maximize the profit. So what is MR? Where is MR equal MC? So here you can see that this point, MR equals MC, because this is MC and this is MR. So here MR equals to MC. Now at this point firm will maximize its profit. Right? Why not here? What happened here? Yes. Now what happened here? What's going on here at this point? Let's say point, call it ABC. So that's much more clear if you say ABC. It's a point A, point B, and point C, right? So point A, what's going on at point A? Why at point A firm will not maximize its profit? If company will sell third unit, what is the price of selling that unit? So let's say, because company, this is the market price. If company will reduce it to $20, so what's going on here? If company will sell at $20, company will lose opportunity to increase or maximize profit. Increase or maximize profit. All right, if you sell at this $20, which is point A is a situation where a company will lose opportunity to maximize its profit, because company can sell it at $30. All right, or company will lose opportunity to maximize its revenue. Here, as I said, here you may attract here at this price, you may maximize selling quantity, but you minimize the price per unit. As a result, your revenue will not be maximized. If revenue will not increase, obviously you will not maximize your profit, right? Because high revenue, high profit, right? So again, it depends upon the cost as well. Now look at the C point. Why C point is not the point where firm is maximizing its profit? What's going on at point C? At this point, MC, which is 40, MC, which is 40, is more than MR, which is 30. As a result, we are losing money because our cost is more than revenue. We are losing money. Right. Now, keep in your mind one thing. At this point, at B points, your cost, we assume your cost is a fixed cost. It's not a variable cost or a marginal cost. Means at B point, if you maximize your production, if you maximize your production, your cost will not increase. In fact, it may be decreased because of economic of scales. Remember the economic of scales, as you maximize your number of units, your cost per unit will be reduced, right? So the situation I give you, the examples I give you here, at B points, firm cost is a fixed cost. Firm cost is a fixed cost. All right. Now, what is fixed cost? So remember, you know the cost. Cost is the amount of money that companies spend to produce and sell the product. Let's talk about the production. So generally cost divided into two parts: fixed cost and variable cost. Right? Fixed cost and variable cost. Now, what does it mean, fixed cost? Fixed cost is any kinds of cost which do not increase when you maximize your number of production. So cost, your cost is fixed. Fixed means cost is unchanged at different level, of production. At different level of production, your cost will be fixed. That's called fixed cost, right? Now, what could be example of fixed cost? Fixed cost example could be factory rent or rent. When you're renting an office, renting a building, for example, if you're renting a factory, if you maximize your production, your factory rent will increase? No, it will not. It's fixed. You produce more or you produce less. The factory rent will not be affected. Right? Another example is a machine depreciation. All right, machine depreciation. You use machine more or you use machine less. Depreciation will not increase because of the usage of the machine. Depreciation means time to time, the value of machine goes down, value of machine reduced. So depreciation cost, depreciation expense is a fixed cost, right? Another examples for fixed cost is the insurance. Let's say machine or factory, anything's in the factory and you purchase the insurance for it. Again, insurance also your fixed cost, will not increase, will not decrease. All right, which do not affect by the level of production. But remember, your manufacturing, your production will not affect the cost. That cost called fixed cost. Now, variable cost. Variable cost is the cost which change as your production change. High production, high cost; low production, low cost; no production, no cost, right? So variable cost means cost change as per level of production. Level of production. So now, what could be example of variable cost? So the example of variable cost could be, let's say, material or direct material. Material or direct material. If you want to produce more product, your material cost will increase because you need to buy more material, right? If you produce less product, we need less material, cost will reduce. You do not produce any product, you do not need material, so no cost, right? Another example is a labor cost. Worker, we have to pay material cost, labor cost. Material cost, labor cost. Labor cost means we have to pay money to our workers, right? If worker will work more because they will produce more product, you have to pay them more money. The labor cost will increase. If you produce less product, less worker will be involved, less labor hours or worker hours, less labor cost. You do not produce product, you do not need labor to work on machine. So your cost will not be increased. Zero cost with no production. So that's called the labor cost. So we have some other kind of cost as well, which is part of your variable cost. Let's say direct expense, maybe electricity used for the machine, right? You running a machine to produce a product, right? If machine will run more, it will consume more electricity. More consumption, more electricity bill. If machine machine will not run too much, less consumption, less electricity bill. You will not produce any product, machine will not run, no electricity bill. All right, so the electricity bill could be lights, or electricity bills could be your variable cost. So this is the very quick example for fixed and variable. But these two kinds of cost you will study later in your accounting subject, which is later. All right. So anyway, so these are the types of cost. So now remember, I am giving you situation here, right? Here, the assumption for this point B is your cost is a fixed cost. Your cost is fixed cost. Why cost is fixed cost? Will maximize your revenue. So remember one thing. Marginal revenue. Marginal revenue means when you sell additional units, additional product. Additional means you sell extra. You sell extra, you make you make more extra money, right? Now, what is the meaning of marginal cost? Another name of marginal cost is a variable cost. What does it mean, marginal cost? Marginal cost means when you produce extra product, your cost will be increased. All right, so that's called the marginal cost. And what exactly variable cost? When you produce extra material, extra labor, or maybe more electricity power. All right, so Marginal cost means when you produce extra unit, your cost will increase. Cost of producing extra units, right? That's called marginal cost or variable cost. So remember, if you sell extra, and the cost of producing this extra unit is fixed, you make money. All right? If the cost of this extra unit is fixed. Unit is fixed means you are selling additional. So you are making additional. But when you make additional, your cost will not increase because cost is a fix. That's why I said is a situation where the B points, where firm has a fixed cost. All right. At C point, if you look at C point, your cost is not fixed. That's why it's become marginal. Marginal means increased, right? So that's the idea here, right? So this is the one of the requirements when the cost is a fixed. But if the cost is variable, what will be happen? Then what will be the points where firm will maximize profit? So remember, what is the conclusion of this information, this slide? What is the conclusion of this slide? The conclusion of this slide is firm will maximize profit at this point. All right? Firm will maximize profit at this point, at B point. All right, at this point, if the cost is fixed cost. All right, cost is fixed cost means when you produce additional units, your cost will not increase. In fact, it will be decreased because of economic of scales. Because under economic of scales, cost is given, cost is fixed, so company will maximize its production, because company know that if we are maximizing the production, cost per unit will be decreased. Cost per unit will be decreased, profit per unit will be increased. All right, because sales per unit minus cost per unit is a profit per unit. All right, so if firm will minimize its cost per unit, its profit per unit will be increased. All right, because you are selling at maximum price. You are selling at maximum price. $30 is the maximum price. All right, so as a result, you will maximize your profit. But again, if you try to reach at the upper limits, if you try to maximize if you reach to the point C, you can see that your cost is 40, but you cannot increase the price 40 because demand, market price, market demand, consumer demand product at $30. Consumer will not pay $40. All right. So what will happen at point C? Point C, you will exit the market. Point C is the point where you will exit the market. You leave the market, because if you stay in a market, you have a loss. Why you have loss? You have to sell at 30 because customer will not buy more than 30 and your cost is 40. As a result, you're losing money. If you lose money, what company do when they lose money? They exit the market. All right, so that's the whole idea for the situation when the firm has a fixed cost where company will maximize its profit. At point B, company will maximize its profit. So did you understand this information when the firm is a fixed cost? So next we will have a look what will happen when the cost is a variable cost or the cost is a total cost. So remember, total cost means total cost. Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. Fixed cost plus variable cost. If you want to calculate average total cost, we call it ATC. Average total cost will be fixed cost plus variable cost divided by 2. So you can get the average. So sometimes we use the average total cost. So average total cost is I think it's a more accurate way to estimate your accurate profit. Is a right way to find the right amounts. All right, so this sometimes that's why you use it average. So you know that average. So I'm producing maybe 1,000 pen like this. So what is the average cost of one pen? So on the behalf of average cost, I can estimate the profit. So that's why instead of saying total cost of this pen, average cost of this pen is more suitable rather than the total cost. Right? So now next we will have a look what will be the point where firm will maximize the profit when your cost is average total cost or the cost is the total cost, where firm will maximize its profit. All right. But before we move on, tell me, do you have any questions? Tell me any question or we move on to the next, which is average total cost.
Excuse me,
Yes.
can you tell me again about total cost? I haven't catch up with.
Total cost means fixed plus variable is the total cost. Fixed cost plus variable cost is the total cost. But if you want to calculate average, then fixed plus variable divided by 2. So we calculate the, so the idea is that generally we use the average fixed cost to estimate what will be the profit per unit. All right. On an average, what is the fixed cost? What is the total cost? Because sometimes maybe in production of this pen, contribution of fixed cost is more than variable cost. So that's why we are just estimating the average. Right? So that's the reason to estimate the average. So just keep in your mind, don't be so confused with the average. If you don't understand, keep in your mind total cost. Total cost means fixed plus variable is our total cost. For example, I'm making this pen. What is the total cost of this pen? Material, labor, rent, depreciation, insurance. So this is the total cost, which is some fixed, some variable, some fixed. That's called the total cost. All right. Is that okay?
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
So any question or we move on? Please say something, any question or we move on? So remember, this slide is more about fixed cost. It's more about fixed cost. So can we move on? Yes or no? Can we move on?
I think yes.
Okay. So now next is when firm has a total cost or average total cost. So when firm cost is a average average total cost. So now we talk about the situation where firm has average total cost, or you can call it firm has fixed cost and variable cost both. Fixed cost and variable cost both. Here, when firm has only fixed cost, and here firm has fixed and variable both. Right? So let's draw a graph, and then we will see which situation company will maximize its profit. Right? Where company will maximize its profit. So I'm using the same product 3, 4, and 5. But before that, this is your demand where you have marginal revenue. So we have marginal cost, right? We have a marginal cost. So as we said, we have three different products. Product A, which is product 3, product 4, and product 5. So 3 different points. You can call it A, B, and C, or X, Y, Z. So because so let's say this is your point X, this is your point Y, and this is your point Z, right? X, Y, and Z. Okay. So this is your quantity for product 4th product. This is your 4th product, not 5th, because 5th not gonna have high. So we will have a look later about 5th. So let's have a look one more curve. That curve is this. So we need a total cost, right? So total cost. So total cost could be around here. Let's see here. So that's your total cost. Okay. Average total cost, you can call it, or total cost, whatever you want to call it. You can call it average total cost, or you can call it fixed plus variable both. Here you have fixed plus variable both, right? Average. Now, which point is a profit, where a company will maximize its profit? So remember, at this point, so let me draw this area, here until here, this area is your profit area, right? This area is your profit area. profit area. And again, this point gonna be your maximum point. Why? Because this is, let's take example. Why it's a profit area. Here. So I'll take example the same price, $30. Right? So this is your $30, right? $30 is your marginal revenue, right? Selling additional units, $30. And this curve is your total cost, and you're selling this quantity, right? So this point means here, this is your average total cost or the total cost. So for example, this point is your, for example, $15. So $15, all right? So $15 is your cost. So price minus cost is profit, right? Price is $30, right? Cost is $15, and your profit is $15, right? So this is your profit areas. This is your profit areas. Your total cost is increasing. Your profit is decreasing. If total cost become 20, your profit become 10. If your cost become 29, profit only 1. If the cost increase, if cost go above, if I say total cost is here, total cost is here, somewhere here, right? So let's say keep it higher, quantity. This is your quantity, all right? If, for example, if your total cost become like this, if that's your total cost, average total cost, if your total cost increase means here, let's say total cost become $40. So your cost become 40, your price will be 30. Again, you cannot maximize the price because price is determined by the market. That's why your demand curve is horizontal, right? It's a flatter, right? So your cost, your price is $30. As a result, you're gonna have a loss of $10. All right, so this is your profit areas, and this area is your loss area. This area is a loss area. You will not sell below, you will not minimize your quantity. As I said, you don't like to go beyond the $30 because you know that this point is a maximum profit point, all right? This curve is a maximum profit curve because this is the price, is a maximum price where consumers are willing to pay for it, right? So you cannot increase the price, decrease the price, because if you decrease the price, let's say you want to attract the consumer, you decrease the price to maybe $15, or no, maybe $20, right? Your cost again $15, your profit will be just a $5 per unit. As a result, you will not maximize your total revenue because profit per unit is decreased. So you will keep your selling price $30. So $30 will maximize your profit, not below 30, not more than 30. But again, you have to control over the price if you wanna stay in a market. You have to control over the cost if you wanna stay in a market. Because if your cost is increasing, you are having a loss. If you're having a loss, you will exit the market. All right? So this is the situation when your actual total cost is this point, which is 15 or maybe more than 30. All right, so that is a profit area. So you cannot find a specific profit point because your cost, you have to find the limit. So this is the area. So in this situation, you have to find the profit areas. Which area is a profit area or which area is a loss area when your total cost, average total cost is maybe 15 or maybe 40, right? So price will not be changed, which is $30. All right. So did you understand that? Please take a picture because we're going to run out the minute. It's going to finish. So any question? So this is the situation for average total cost. So anybody has any question? Tell me if anybody has any question. Any question or we move on?
I think we should move on.
So now I'm going to show you the steps to draw a graph to find the profit and loss area. The same graph that we just saw before. So that step is quite simple, but it's up to you. You want to follow the steps or not? It's your choice. But following your textbook, these are the steps involved. So step one, which is find MR equals to MC. You have to find that point. Right? The point is, this is your MR and this is your MC. So the point where MR equals MC. Right. Second one, find Q. Q is a quantity, the straight line. Right? So the quantity we're gonna sell it, not 3, not 5, the fourth one. Right? Because fourth quantity will maximize your profit. If you sell additional units, all right, you cannot increase to the 5, as I said. So because it will not maximize your revenue, right? Because the price will increase. Optimal quantity. So find quantity, and the third one is find P. Find P, like quantity and then the price. Then number 4, find average total cost or total cost, whatever you want to call it. Right? Average total cost or total cost. And number 5 is find profit or loss area. Right. So now obviously remember, if ATC is greater than marginal revenue, we have a loss. All right. If marginal revenue is greater than ATC, this is have a profit, right? And where if your marginal revenue equals to ATC, then you have no economic profit. You have normal profit, but you don't have an economic profit. All right? You may have normal profit, but you don't have economic profit. Economic profit means you are not really, means we can say that if your cost per unit decrease, if you're, let's say, if you have only fixed cost, if it's in your total cost is only fixed cost, then you will maximize your production. Your cost per unit will be increased. All right, your cost per unit will be increased. Your profit per unit will be increased. Otherwise, it will not. So MR equals MC in simple language. You are not making any kinds of economic profit here, right? Because the revenue and the ATC same thing. Marginal revenue 30 and ATC is 30. So no economic profit, right? So no profit. So that could be a situation. So now I'm trying to make one question. I'm going to answer that question, right? So let's say we're going to draw a graph where MR, let's say MR 30, right? And fixed cost is, let's say, 10. Situation B, where draw a graph where MR is 30, fixed cost is 10, right? And variable cost is 20, right? Which means your average total cost is 15. Right, so fixed plus variable divided by 2, the same thing. 4. So fixed variable or fixed cost plus variable cost, or 8615. C is a situation where MR is where MR is 30 and average total cost, let's say 35. All right. And D is a situation where MR equals to 30 and ATC also 30. So draw a graph. So we're going to draw 4 different types of graphs here. So let's draw a graph A. So how A will look like, that's your D. D equals to MR, right? That's your marginal cost, right? That's your quantity, that's your price, and this point, we will maximize profit. We will maximize profit. All right. So this is your situation A. Because cost is a fixed cost. All right. So this areas, your cost is a fixed. So there is no any cost of producing additional. Right. For graph B, where MR 30 and ATC is 15. So that's your D equals to MR. That's your marginal revenue, oh sorry, marginal cost. Your price is 30, and let's say your average total cost is 15, which is here. Which is here. So which means this is your average total cost. All right, so that's your average total cost, ATC. ATC. So here. So this is your profit area when your MR 30 and ATC is 15. All right. Let's have a look. C. Your ATC is 35. So that's your D, which is your marginal revenue, and your price is 30, right? $30. That's your marginal cost. This is your quantity. And now we have to draw a curve which indicates the average total cost. Average total cost is 35. So 35 gonna be something around here, I guess. Let's assume here. Here, so that's your average total cost, ATC. And this point, this area is your loss area. So this is your 35. Your ATC is 35. And this area will be your loss area. And now graph D. Demand marginal revenue. This is your graph D. And this is your 30. And that's your quantity. So marginal revenue is this. Sorry, marginal cost is this. And your marginal revenue and ATC is 30. So both same point. So that's your ATC. So this point, you have a normal profit or no economic profit. There is no any economic profit at this point, right? So these are the various kinds of situations that you may see in your exam, right? So this is the steps to prepare a cost graph using different situations. Now, one more thing. So remember one thing, I give example before for fixed cost and variable cost. So remember, fixed cost is fixed only in a short run. In a long run, fixed cost will not be fixed. Fixed cost will be changed. What does it mean? So let me write down here. So fixed cost remains unchanged only in short run. Only in short run. In long run, fixed cost will be changed. Now, what does it mean? For example, you're renting a room, renting a house, and you sign a contract with the landlord. When you sign a contract, so you're gonna sign a contract for a limited period of time. So means, in other words, we can say that you're signing a contract with the landlord for a short period of time. So this could be 1 year, or I don't know, maybe more than 1 year. So let's say 2 years. So you sign a lease for just for 1 year, 6 months. Let's say in Vietnam is generally 1 year. So you're signing a lease just for 1 year, right? So when the lease will be expired, and depends upon the economic situation, let's say things are normal, so landlord most likely to increase the price of the house. As a result, your fixed cost is fixed only in a year, but when the year is finished, landlord will increase the rent or the price, so your cost will increase. So can we say that fixed cost will be changed in a long run? If fixed costs change in a long run, do we have economic profit in long run or not? I repeat my question and you answer the question. So you already understand fixed cost remain unchanged only in a short run. In long run, it will not be fixed. It will change, because as I give example of renting a house, so the landlord will increase the rent after 1 year if market situation is normal, right? Not market down. So landlord will increase the rent. As a result, cost will increase. So means your fixed cost will increase in a long run. So means fixed cost will change in a long run. So if fixed cost will be changed in a long run, what will be the economic profit of the firm? Increase or decrease? Can you tell me? The profit will tell me, increase, decrease, or what? What will be happen to the profit if fixed cost will be changed in a long run?
I think profit will increase too, because if the cost is increased, we must higher the price too.
No. Let me draw. That's your marginal revenue. That's your marginal cost. So one thing keep in your mind, either you are a consumer or you are a producer. You cannot be both at the same time, all right? So for example, you have a factory and you rent a factory, right? Factory rent is a fixed cost, right? But fixed cost only in short run. Fixed cost only in short run. But when is the long run? This fixed cost will be increased, fixed cost will increase. So company fixed cost increase in a long run. So that's my question. If fixed cost increase in a long run, then what will be happen to the profit? What will be happen to the profit? Profit will decrease or no profit. Why profit will decrease? Remember, your marginal revenue is fixed. You cannot increase. If factory rent increase, do you think you can increase the price of your product? No, you cannot increase the price of the product because this is your demand curve. This is your demand curve. If you increase the price, nobody will buy your product. If you decrease the price, you lose the opportunity to maximize your profit. All right. So if in a short run, if fixed cost, yes, company will make a profit. Firm will make a profit if fixed cost is remain unchanged in a short run, which is generally happen. That's why we call it fixed cost. But fixed cost is not always fixed. In long run, on one day, fixed cost will be increased. Company fixed cost increase, company factory rent increase. Do you think company will increase the price from $30 to let's say $40? No, company cannot do that. So price is fixed, but cost, let's say before cost was 15, now let's say cost become 20. So profit 10, which is reduced. Profit reduced, that's what I mean. All right, so that's the idea here. The idea is, remember in the beginning of today's lecture, I explain you that in perfectly competitive market, firm do not have long run economic profit. I repeat, under perfectly competitive market, firms do not have long run economic profit because of these reasons. Long run economic profit, your cost will increase. Variable increase. Doesn't matter long run or short run. Variable always increase if you maximize your production. All right? But your fixed cost may be increased. As a result, your average total cost will be increased in the long run. If your average total cost will increase in a long run, do you think you have an opportunity to make economic profit in a long run? You have opportunity to maximize profit in a future? No, you don't have opportunity. That's why under competitive market and under monopolistic competition, firm has no economic profit in a long period of time, because this monopolistic competition or perfectly competition, market will decide the price. So you do not have price to increase, you have just cost to decrease. But as I said, in long run, cost will increase. But if you take example of a monopoly or oligopoly, you have a right to control over the price. If you have a right to control over the price, your cost increase, the price increase. So that's why under oligopoly and monopoly, you have economic profit in a long run, in a longer period of time. But on the other hand, perfectly competitive market and monopolistic competitions, you do not have. I hope now you get the ideas. What does it mean, no long run economics? So this is the answer of this question. No profit in a long run. Right? Is that okay? Understand? Yes or no? Is that clear?
I understand why the perfect competition has no long-run economic profit, but why monopolistic has no long-run economic profit too.
Okay. Let's take, okay. Last time I gave example of monopolistic competition is a example of monopolistic competition at restaurants, all right? And I also explained to you in a restaurants, product may not be homogeneous, product are heterogeneous, right? So product are heterogeneous, the price, that's why the price of restaurants are different. Restaurant to restaurant is different. But the price of, even though restaurants product are, food is heterogeneous, but food is heterogeneous, it doesn't mean that whatever price they like, they set. All right. At some extent, market also control the price of in these monopolistic competitions. There is a small variations of the prices, depends upon restaurant to restaurant, nature of the food, even the nature of the food, but the price cannot be extremely expensive that people are not willing to take it. All right. Price will be variant, all right, but price will be affordable. Affordable means consumer or market will decide the price. All right, consumer or market will decide the price. So eventually, at some extent, market control the price. If market will control the price, your demand curve will be straight. If your demand curve is a flatter, then in a long run, you cannot make economic profit. If your demand curve is flatter for the firm, your economic profit cannot exist in a long run. It's only for a short period of time. All right. So keep in your mind that in monopolistic competitions, the prices are not 100% controlled by the restaurants. At some extent, to keep them affordable, restaurants have to cut down the prices as per the customer expectations, as per the other competitors. All right. So that's why they. So there's just some kind of optimum price for the restaurant businesses, but again, it's not extremely high. Right? So that's why under monopolistic competitions, no economic profit in a long run. Right? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So that's all about topic 4. So topic 4 is finished. Now, you have two options. Option 1 is we go for break, short break, or no short break. I'll just take it another 15-20 minutes maximum to discuss about your midterm exam, and then we will stop. Is that okay if we don't go for break, or you need a break?
Well, I think we can move on, but can you turn back to the previous page?
Okay. Yes.
To capture the picture.
Yes. Is that okay? Now can we move on?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I have to log in and sign out and sign in again because just 10 minutes left. So let me sign out and sign in. Okay, so let's talk about your midterm exam. So your midterm exam gonna be next week. Next week Saturday, right? So next week Saturday, 5th of December, right? So we will start at 3:30. So we have class 3:30 because we have, yes, 3:30. So we start 3:30, right? You have topic 1, 2, 4. Whatever topic we have covered until today, right? Whatever information that will be part of your midterm exam. So you don't have to have a look at the textbook. You just simply follow all these my slides and things that I'm writing here in the whiteboard. You just follow these instructions to prepare for your midterm exam. Right? So questions. Questions. So you have in this exam you have two parts: part A, part B. Part A and part B. Part A, part B. Part A, you have 30 multiple choice questions, right? And part B, you have 2 questions. You have 2 questions. In these 2 questions, you may have some parts, like as question 1, A, B, C, and question 2, A, 2B, and 2C. All right, so you may have, you may not have, but you're most likely to have some parts in these questions, right? So part A gonna be 60 marks. Part A gonna be 60 marks. So obviously 1 multiple choice question equals to 2 marks, right? And part B gonna be 40 marks, right? So 2 questions, 20, 20, right? So 20 marks each question. So total 100 marks. So midterm exams is 100 marks. Time, it's 75 minutes. Time will be 75, so an exam will be closed book exam. Closed book exam, no mobile phone. So what else? Yes, that's all. So make sure for your part B, you read the question carefully. Maybe you require to draw a graph or maybe to show some examples or detailed explanations. So make sure you read your questions carefully for part B to answer your 2 questions, right? And part A, 30 multiple choice questions. Right, so that's also format is nearly same to your accounting exam. So except the timing, just 75 minutes here because not much things to do. I guess 75 minutes are more than enough. It's not more than enough. I think it's just enough. So if you're really focused, then you will you will be finished your exam on time. So these are the information for your mid-exam. Right? So anybody has any questions? So remember, next week is your mid-exam, so don't be absent. So be on time, don't be late. So any question?
We do the exam and then we finish, or we move on to the next topic?
I think we will stop. After the exam, you can go home. Yes. Any other question? Any questions regarding any topic, topic 1, 2, 3, 4? Any questions from the topic that we covered today? Say something, any questions, or we stop if no question? Can we stop now? We stop here, and maybe some of you gonna study if you are from marketing class, so we're gonna have class tomorrow, but it will be online. Do you have a Zoom invitation for your tomorrow marketing class? Did I send you the link?
Yes.
Okay. So tomorrow we will start 3:30, right? Same period.
4 p.m.
No, 3:30.
Because we have class until 3:10, so we need to get home.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Home.
No problem. So we can start. You can start 4, right? But your login timing is 3:30. But you can attend at 4. But don't be too late, right? So tomorrow I'll see you for 4 p.m. online. Right? If you have any question, please send me email. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye.